we are facing a silent enemy. This is not a natural disaster. It is not a new, terrifying virus. Instead, it is the everyday bacteria we once confidently believed we had defeated. They have mutated, evolved, and transformed into unstoppable killers. Superbugs. If they emerge victorious in this battle, a simple cut from a piece of paper could become a fatal wound. Welcome to Green Earth VN, where we explore the threats that define our future. Before the dawn of antibiotics, the world was a far more dangerous place. A minor infection could easily become a death sentence. Diseases we now consider treatable, like pneumonia or tuberculosis, claimed millions of lives without mercy. Hospitals were places of despair, where doctors could offer little more than comfort as infections raged unchecked. The simplest surgical procedures carried an immense risk of death. Then, in 1928, a moment of accidental genius changed the course of human history. Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin heralded a new era of medicine. It was nothing short of a miracle. For the first time, humanity had a weapon that could systematically destroy bacterial invaders. Throughout the 20th century, antibiotics saved countless lives. Soldiers wounded on the battlefield were no longer doomed by infection. Surgeries became routine and safe. The survival rate of mothers during childbirth skyrocketed. Antibiotics became humanity's single greatest weapon in the fight for survival, a shield against the microscopic world. But this miracle came with a vulnerability we failed to foresee. We began to misuse this powerful gift, paving the way for our own downfall. To understand the threat, we must first understand the enemy. What exactly are bacteria? Are masters of evolution. They have been on this planet for billions of years, constantly adapting to survive. When a population of bacteria is exposed to an antibiotic, most will die. However, due to random mutations in their DNA, a few may possess a natural resistance to the drug. These are the survivors. With their competition eliminated, these resistant bacteria are free to multiply, passing on their resistant genes to their offspring. This is natural selection in hyperspeed. The formation of a superbug is a chillingly efficient process. It is driven by our own actions. The misuse and overuse of antibiotics in both human medicine and agriculture create the perfect environment for them to thrive. Furthermore, bacteria have a unique ability to exchange genetic material through a process called horizontal gene transfer. This means a resistant bacterium can pass its survival blueprint directly to a completely different species of bacteria, like a veteran soldier handing a powerful weapon to a new recruit. This accelerates the spread of resistance at an alarming rate. The results are frightening. We now face a rogues gallery of superbugs that haunt the halls of modern hospitals. Teres marsa, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which can turn a simple skin infection into a life-threatening illness. There is CRE, Carbapenem-resistant Enterobacter, a nightmare family of bacteria resistant to even our most powerful last resort antibiotics. We also have Ube, RA, vancomycin-resistant Enteracoshi, and KPC Klebsiella, Ciali, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Carbapenem producing bacteria. These are names that strike fear into the hearts of doctors and nurses worldwide because they signal the terrifying reality that our arsenal of effective antibiotics is shrinking. The weapons we once relied upon are becoming obsolete. How did we arrive at this critical juncture? We inadvertently created this monster through a series of collective failures and short-sighted practices. A major driver is the misuse of antibiotics for viral illnesses like the common cold or the flu. Antibiotics have absolutely no effect on viruses, yet they are frequently prescribed under pressure or taken out of habit. Every time this happens, we are pointlessly exposing the bacteria in our bodies to these drugs, giving them a chance to learn and adapt. Another critical mistake is stopping a course of antibiotics early. When a patient starts to feel better, they might be tempted to stop their medication. However, this only kills the weakest bacteria, leaving the strongest, most resilient survivors to multiply and potentially become resistant. Self-medication without a doctor's diagnosis and prescription further fuels the fire, creating a chaotic environment where resistance can flourish unchecked. But the problem extends far beyond our local pharmacies and clinics. The single largest contributor to antibiotic resistance is not human medicine, but industrial livestock farming. An astonishing 70% of all antibiotics sold worldwide are not used to treat sick people, but are given to animals like pigs, chickens, and cattle. Often, these drugs are used not to cure disease, but to promote faster growth and prevent infections in the crowded, unsanitary conditions of factory farms. These antibiotic-laden environments become massive incubators for superbugs. The resistant bacteria that develop on these farms do not stay there. They seep into the soil through animal waste. They are carried into our rivers, lakes, and oceans through agricultural runoff, and most directly, they contaminate the food we eat. We are, quite literally, feeding the enemy that threatens to destroy us. If we continue down this path, the future looks terrifyingly dark. Imagine a world where our greatest medical achievements are undone, where antibiotics no longer work. A routine case of appendicitis would once again become a deadly emergency. Life-saving treatments, like chemotherapy, which weaken the immune system and rely on antibiotics to prevent infection, would become impossible to administer safely. Organ transplants, one of the great triumphs of modern medicine, would be rendered extremely risky, with the threat of untreatable post-surgical infections looming over every procedure. Even the miracle of childbirth would revert to being a grave threat, with mothers and their newborn babies vulnerable to bacterial infections we can no longer control. This is not science fiction. The World Health Organization has issued a stark warning. If current trends continue, by the year 2050, as many as 10 million people per year could die from superbug infections. That is more than the number of people who die from cancer today. A death toll of that magnitude would equate to one person dying every 3 seconds. A silent pandemic is not on the horizon. It is already here, unfolding in hospitals around the globe, and its pace is accelerating. Food is one of the primary, yet often hidden, pathways for the transmission of these dangerous organisms. The journey of a superbug often begins on a factory farm. From there, resistant bacteria can contaminate meat during the slaughtering and processing stages. These contaminated food products are then shipped across countries and continents, part of our vast global trade network. Microorganisms do not respect national borders. A superbug that originates on a farm in one hemisphere can easily end up on a dinner plate in another. This globalized food system means that no one is immune. The threat of antibiotic resistance is a threat to every single plate of food on Earth. Faced with this existential threat, the global scientific community is fighting back with urgency and ingenuity. Researchers are racing against time to develop new generation antibiotics that can outsmart the defenses of superbugs. Scientists are also exploring innovative alternatives, such as phage therapy. This fascinating approach uses bacteriophage viruses that specifically hunt and kill bacteria as a form of living medicine. Other cutting-edge fields like nanotechnology are being harnessed to create microscopic particles that can destroy bacteria without relying on traditional antibiotics. Hope is also being found in nature, as scientists screen thousands of natural compounds from plants and fungi for new antimicrobial properties. In the digital realm, artificial intelligence is being used to analyze massive datasets and predict the structures of new drug molecules, drastically speeding up the discovery process. Yet, despite these brilliant efforts, we are in a desperate race. Bacterial evolution is relentless and rapid. While pharmaceutical innovation is slow and expensive, evolution is currently outpacing innovation. The fight against superbugs is not one that can be won in laboratories alone. It requires a global effort, and your individual actions are more powerful than you think. Here are 5 simple actions you can take to protect yourself, your family, and all of humanity. First, only take antibiotics when they are prescribed by a qualified health professional. Never demand them for a viral infection. Second, if you are prescribed antibiotics, always complete the full course of treatment, even if you start to feel better. This ensures all the targeted bacteria are eliminated. Third, never share your antibiotics with others or use leftover prescriptions. The right drug and dosage are specific to you and your infection. Fourth, help reduce the pressure on doctors. Trust their professional judgment when they say an antibiotic is not necessary. Fifth, whenever possible, make conscious food choices. Look for meat, poultry, and dairy products that are labeled as antibiotic-free or raised without routine antibiotics. Your small action today, when multiplied by millions, has the power to shift markets and practices, and it could save countless lives in the future. We once believed we'd conquered the world of bacteria. We celebrated our victory with the miracle of antibiotics. But our arrogance and misuse of this precious resource have led us to a point where we are rapidly losing ground. If we fail to act now, if we continue to ignore the warnings, we risk returning to a dark, pre-antibiotic era. A world where a scraped knee could be a death warrant, where modern medicine collapses, and where humanity is once again at the mercy of microscopic predators. This is not a distant possibility. It is an imminent threat. This is humanity's final wake-up call. Together, we can turn the tide against this silent killer. The first step is awareness. Spread this knowledge. Protect the future of medicine for generations to come. Please like, share, and subscribe to Green Earth VN for more vital content. What scares you the most about the rise of superbugs? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.